Oh,
We, yep, we are live and a go. Welcome, one and all, to our Rear Window Watch Party. And Mr. Furzel is joining me today. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Furzel.
good evening. In order to maintain the integrity of this film experience, we kindly ask that friends and family not be permitted to your living room until the ending of the premiere. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant, love it. Yes, so today we have one of Hitchcock's greatest movies ever, Rear Window. It has been acclaimed worldwide as one of the best movies of all time and one of Hitchcock's best movies. Um, so let's see, we have uh, like a 25-second sync point in as the Paramount logo comes on and the music, the jazzy music starts. Um, and yeah, the movie runs almost 2 hours long. So without further ado, Mr. Furzel, how about you count us down?
Okay, everyone, get your binoculars ready. In five, four, three, two, one, press play.
All right. Yes.
Deceptively upbeat jazz music at the beginning.
Jazz music. Okay. Yep. And I think, yeah, Mr. Furzel, I think you might have to turn the volume down a little bit.
Gotcha.
So, okay, everyone, let's do a roll call. Thank you very much. I hit my microphone and went mute there for a few seconds. Um, all right, I got to move my microphone here. All right, so I'm assuming, although I don't want to assume because you know what that means, that we've all seen this before or we are familiar with the movie. Um, yeah, Johnny Devick, you thought my headpiece died? Nope, I just tapped my microphone. So I'll try not to do that. So Rear Window did come out in 1954, so that is old enough that we can have an open discussion and not be afraid of spoilers. Sith's sister over there on Discord is saying it's the first time watch. So, is there anybody else that this is the first time watch, or is this? Are we all kind of familiar with this? Um, okay, Mr. Furzel, you're back. So over there in Discord, Sith's sister was saying it's his first time watching this.
Oh, good. Oh, you're
Um,
in for a treat here.
yes. Okay, but he's okay with spoilers. Yeah, for a movie that is 1954, and especially we're talking Hitchcock, we're going to be talking about his legacy. Um, with a movie that came out this long ago, we're going to be probably giving a few spoilers away, but we're
Right.
trying not to. Um, So Miss Swift is also first time watch, but I'm familiar with the gist from remakes and homage. Yes, there was the famous remake. Christopher Reeve did a remake. Yeah, Calbot
Right. James.
71 years ago.
Yeah, James
Uh,
Hillier just pointed out that Christopher Reeve remake. I have a vague memory of that. Um, and I guess it must have come out around the mid '90s, but yeah, I don't remember too much being spoken about it.
yes, that was after Christopher Reeve's accident, and he was paralyzed. And I believe, I could be mistaken, that it was his introduction back into the film world after his accident.
Hmm.
I believe. Um, Yeah, James Taylor says he might be familiar with the Christopher Reeve remake. Yeah, and I think there has been some other remakes that I'm unfamiliar with anyway. But
Mm,
anyway, so as you may or may not know about Hitchcock's legacy, he does a lot of the intrigue, the mysteries wrapped up in the drama. What makes this movie one of my the reason why I picked it was because not just it was a great movie, because of the way it was it's shown on the screen. It's shot entirely from the perspective of Jeff, Jimmy Stewart, his
hmm.
character. It's filmed from his perspective, and this is our introduction to the characters as a quote unquote voyeur. That was Hitchcock's intention. So one of the ways to capture the drama from the one perspective is we're drawn into these people's lives from an outside perspective, and you'll see as the movie goes on
Yeah.
that how almost confining. I don't want to say claustrophobic, but that's a
Hmm.
term that's been used to describe this movie because it's filmed from the one apartment's perspective. Not claustrophobic for me so much as a outsider's view on the goings on in this apartment building. So,
Yeah.
so that's kind of my rant. Mr. Furzel, what is your introduction to this movie? Um, yeah, take it away.
Well, I mean, to answer Alex's question, yeah. So we just got finished watching Miss Torso put on her little exhibition there in the beginning. But yes, I think I first watched this film. It must have been many years ago, and then I recently acquired it actually on VHS, if you can believe it. Um,
Nice.
but I've seen it several times, and each time I see it, it always strikes me how thrilling it still is, especially once you get to the climax and you're literally on the edge of your seat and just kind of holding on to, what you're just very tense because you see what's happening. But kind of like you mentioned, Sharon, I mean, the fact that this was all filmed really on a backlot, um, would have made it, very easy to produce, very easy to film, kept it under budget, which is one of the things that, Hitchcock prided himself on. So, all in all, ends up being as long as you have good writing and good characters, then you've got a solid profit maker.
Right. And Hitchcock is known for that solid writing, solid character development. And what strikes me in this movie is the dialogue, the interaction between the characters, even though, for the most part, because we're seeing everything from this apartment, the character interactions will be sort of limited, but it doesn't take away from the drama that ensues.
Hmm.
And as we are introduced to Jeff's character, so yeah, like you said, Mr. Furzel, the yoga girl, or ballerina girl, or whatever she's called,
I think Jeffries refers to her as Miss Torso for
Miss
obvious reasons.
Torso. Yes, yes. So everyone's got their little nickname because he's seeing them from his window because he's
Mhm.
wheelchair ridden. Um,
It's interesting too because you listen to his conversation with his publisher there, and you see what his perspective is and kind of how it changes, from the beginning to the end of the film. It's like he's bored, he misses the action of being a photojournalist, and he doesn't want to be like held down, as he says, by marriage, but as he watches not just Thorwald, but also the lives of the people in his neighborhood. It shows his arc, how he kind of changes his mind a little bit.
yeah, and that goes into the conversation he had with his publicist. You understand that he got this injury while because he's a photojournalist,
Hmm.
so he lives his life behind the camera. This is how he sees the world,
Yep.
and this is still how he sees the world from behind this lens, and so he's still um, that's how he's seeing everybody in this apartment building, is behind this lens.
Hmm.
And so he's nicknamed all these people. And it's interesting. Old Johnny Devico there in YouTube said today he would be on TikTok and miss everything happening.
Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Johnny,
Um,
it's funny you mentioned that because I kind of go off of what Miss Swift said before about Suburbia, and I also think of films like Viewpoint and others that kind of emulated this like voyeuristic kind of style. And it seems like over the last few years, those films that were made where everything kind of took place on like a social media window on a computer screen with a bunch of other, actors and participants all on the same screen, kind of makes me think of this same sort of, it's like a modern take on this where everything is kind of focused just on the individual characters' perspectives.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's where we find ourselves in this movie. And you're right. He had that conversation with his publisher. He's not going to get married. He's feeling stuck in the wheelchair from this accident. And now we see Stella, his nurse, coming in. She's a little spitfire. Comes and takes care of whatever he needs. It sounds like she's coming every day to take care of him. Um, and later on, we're going to see Jeff's girlfriend. So Grace Kelly, this is one
Oh,
of
yes.
her. Oh my gosh, the Grace Kelly. Oh my gosh, we could have a totally separate conversation about her too.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
so she is an award-winning actress who you may all know that she gave it all up 2 years after, I believe, 2 years after she made this movie. She gave it all up to marry Prince Rainier of
That's right. She became a diplomat for I can't remember the country.
Greece, I
Ah,
believe it
there we go.
was. Um, and so she married the prince, gave up her Hollywood life, and devoted it to public service. And yeah, oh, Monaco. Yes, Monaco.
Monaco. There we go.
Greece. Yes, thank you, James. Princess Grace of Monaco. Um, and yeah, and so there she stayed for what, 30 years until her death.
Mm,
Um, but yes, she was a very accomplished Hollywood actress. And at the time she made this movie, she made another movie that came out the same year. I think that she won the Academy Award for.
mm.
Um, I knew the name of the movie, and it just escapes me. Anybody in the chat want to shout out or want to find out what movie she won the Academy Award for? But yeah, when she comes on the scene here, she's a little spitfire too of a
Hmm.
girlfriend. Um, so so interesting. Okay, so comment about Miss Torso. Um, Miss Torso. Okay, according to the research that I have seen, the direction that she was given from Hitchcock was, yes, she's a ballerina, so some of the moves that she does is real because she's a ballerina. But she is a not a professional, she's more like an amateur. So Hitchcock told her, I don't want you taking any classes because I want you to still appear on camera as an amateur. So
Hmm.
don't get any better. You need to be an amateur.
Hmm.
So so the characters that we are introduced to in the courtyard area, we have Miss Torso, we have I think Jeff was alluding to like the nagging wife. The
Hmm.
girl that was bedridden is basically nagging her husband. Um, which, yes, I think it was James Hellier that said it was a no, Miss Swift, white-haired Raymond Burr. Yep, and
Yep.
that is Raymond Burr.
Yep.
Um,
I can't think of what was. I mean, obviously the name is familiar, but I can't think of what else Raymond Burr was in that he might have been his claim to fame, his nom de guerre, so to speak.
oh, he was, and you know what? The name escapes me. Raymond Burr. He was the attorney. Wasn't he in a wheelchair? He was the quick. Someone. Oh, okay.
Perry
Calbot
Mason?
says IMDb. She won an Oscar in 1955 for The Country Girl. Never heard of it. Yeah, The Country Girl
Hmm.
came out. Yes, Perry Mason. Thank you,
Oh,
James and Calbot. And Ironside. That's the
okay.
one I'm
Got it.
thinking of. He was Ironside. Yep. So he is Perry Mason.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. And okay, so here we have the newlywed couple. And we have, let's see, the nagging wife, the newlyweds, we have Miss Torso.
And soon
Um,
enough, Miss Lonely Hearts will be who we
oh,
choose to.
yep. And we'll have Miss Lonely Hearts, and then we'll have the couple who lives on the top. Um, and they do something very comical out on the fire escape,
Mm.
which was also due to Hitchcock's direction of that scene.
Huh. And then we also have the pianist. I don't know if Jeffries gives him a nickname, but frequently checks in on Ham
Mm.
over in the right side.
Yeah, and I want to say that because he has like this unfinished symphony he's working on it, writer's block. I think they call him writer's block because he's struggling with this music piece. Stella reminds me of just an old caretaker
Hmm.
who's coming in and taking care of his place and taking care of him.
Yeah, I like her wit though. I like the fact that she, has strong opinions on certain things, and is willing to challenge Jeffries and not just be basically not just be like a side character, like another piece of furniture. She actually has, involvement when they begin their little investigation.
That's true. She comes in and just lays it out and is kind of in his face about things.
Yep. You bite me for stop biting.
So here we have Grace Kelly.
Man, oh man.
So she just comes into the apartment, makes herself at home.
Hmm.
So, fun fact, at the time of the filming, she was roughly 24 years old,
Mm,
and Jimmy Stewart's about 21 years older than her.
yeah.
So he is, probably in this movie is considering himself kind of a playboy,
Mm,
freewheeling kind of guy who doesn't want to settle down, um, and she holds her own now. You'll see as she starts talking about her day and her career, she is in the fashion industry and holds her own.
yeah. And of course, that wasn't at all uncommon. Even back in Hollywood in the 1950s, to have a leading man and leading woman who would be his junior quite significantly. In fact, I was just watching a movie the other day where the same thing occurred. It was another female lead, male lead, and the female lead was at least 9 to 10 years younger, even though she was meant to be portrayed as like more equal in age to the main character.
Well, apparently on set, Grace Kelly was known as quite a. Oh, Calbot says Bogey and Bacall.
Is that was that Casablanca?
Yeah, and that might have been what your reference about. Um, oh, yeah. Well, Bogey and Bacall have worked together, and
Okay.
they had a history. So yeah. Anyway, so Grace Kelly was had kind of this reputation of being a flirt and going after leading men that she works with, and it doesn't really matter if they were married or not. So who knows how true that is?
Huh.
who knows? All you can do is, you do your research, you see what they say on the internet, and you take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
And apparently, she kind of went after Jimmy Stewart a little bit, but Jimmy supposedly had none of it. He didn't want any of it,
Oh, I'm sure.
and even brought his wife on set a couple times because he was married at the time. So who knows? Who knows? It could be that Grace Kelly had such charm and beauty, um, that men just flocked to her.
Mm.
That could be it.
Back before Uber, back before Drive Dash, there was just we got a guy in tails come and bring up some food and some champagne.
Yeah, wait till you see what he brought him too. I wonder how, this is probably a guy you paid in a restaurant to just deliver the food, but she's got the money. She could
Oh
do it.
yeah.
So you get the feeling she's not interested in his money because she's probably making more than he is.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so James Hillier said Bacall was married to Bogart. She was not in Casablanca. That was
Oh, okay.
Bergman and yeah, yeah. Bogey and Bergman were in Casablanca. So Bacall was married to Bogart. Didn't they work together? I'd have to pull that up. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm thinking they have worked together in the past.
And it's fun to see how Grace Kelly keeps dropping these notes of things she's done and kind of dropping the notes of expensive things she's done. So Jeffries keeps trying to challenge her with, well, what about if you did this from Pakistan? So he's constantly trying to be like, well, I like you, but what are you going to do when I want to go back to my job? So there's great writing, great inference of character here.
Yes. Okay. So Calbot says to have and have not, the Big Sleep, Dark Passage, Key Largo.
Okay.
So yes, they did work together on quite a few things. Oh, Miss Swift, I love that song. Oh yes, now I'm going to have that song in my head. Thank you.
Miss Swift, that wasn't Kokomo, was it?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, that's the Key Largo. We had it all, just like Bogey and Bacall. Yeah, I can't sing, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I think
Um,
Kokomo from the Beach Boys, I think would have come out right around that time, but I remember them saying Key Largo, Montego, Baby. I don't know.
na, 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 we
Kind of
go.
made me think.
That was from the movie Cocktail, and the Beach Boys did that,
Yep.
and that was probably 84.
Yeah, it might have, or even later. I want to say like 87, 88, but I could be
88.
off.
Oh, so yeah, Miss
Nice.
Lonely Hearts,
Yeah.
yep, has just made her introduction, and so we're kind of seeing why she got that nickname.
Hmm. I think it's even referenced in Back to the Future, unless I'm mistaken. I think uh, Biff mentions her as kind of like a sarcastic clip when he's talking to his older self. I guess it was in part two. So, but it would have been clear that I think kids in the mid '50s probably would have been familiar with this film, this character.
I bet they would. So yeah, this was a critical success, and I'm guessing a financial success as well.
Hmm.
Um, Most of the budget, I believe, went into this set, which, as you said before, Mr. Frizzle, it is on a back lot. This whole scene has been created with even that the road in the back that you see is actually a working road.
Hmm.
So he went through a big expense making that this whole scene. Yeah, so it looks like the budget was about $1 million, and box office was close to 38 million.
Well, there you go. That's a good profit margin in any day and time.
So if you think about it, back in 54, 71 years ago, so it cost $1 million to make this movie. Um, it just blows my mind because my perspective on the cost of making movies is in today's dollars,
Right.
right? And if you take that, extrapolate that back to 71 years, it blows my mind,
I mean,
especially
that might as well be 380 million today.
when you look at what they've been doing in the Marvel universe with those movies. Yes, they dump a ton of money into them, but they also make their money back and then some.
Yeah.
From all accounts, the next Avengers Marvel universe movie to come out next year,
Yeah.
they said if it doesn't, even if worldwide box office dollars are over 1 billion, it won't make its money back.
Huh.
Think about
Yeah.
that for a second.
Well, yeah. I mean, every time they do one, they gotta make it bigger. They gotta have like have to bring everybody back from the cast from multiple different films, and everyone wants to get paid. Everyone wants to get first billing. So yeah, it's
Yep.
expensive
Yep.
proposition. And then all the marketing. I mean, that pretty much doubles the cost of the movie these days.
Yeah, pretty much. So most of the budget's gone before they've even started principal photography.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Well, Johnny Devick says, same as Guyver Dark Hero then? Johnny, could you elaborate? Because you mentioned Guyver, and all of a sudden my ears start twitching. You can't bring up Guyver and then just leave it lie like that.
In reference to the budget,
Mm. Oh, I see. Okay.
um,
And Guyver Dark Hero, I mean, was a far superior film. I feel like than to the first one too. So I think critically and commercially, I think it might have done better than the first film.
let's see. Yeah, we can bring up some stats on Guyver Dark Hero. So the budget for that was almost $1 million.
Okay. And
And that was
they
back,
really did that stretch.
yeah, and it's so
Oh, there's
okay,
the
so everybody, Mr. What would they call him? Mr. The musician. The cameo, if you spotted it, it was only on, yeah, exactly, Cowbot. The cameo from Hitchcock is the clock winder.
yeah.
I guess, yes, sister. That was a Hitchcock cameo. If you
Yeah.
blinked, you missed it.
Hmm. Meanwhile, you have Grace Kelly here serving Jeff champagne and lobster tail. I mean, I don't think he's got much to complain about right now.
That looks like a nice dinner to me.
Especially given by Grace Kelly, and I'm laid up with my busted leg. I mean, I'll take that 6 days out of 7.
Yep, yep. So yeah, so the character dynamic between these two. He's a free spirit. He can't wait to get back and do his job. He was talking about Pakistan before
Mm-hmm.
and how much she would hate Pakistan. There's no way he would actually want to bring her out there. She wants him to kind of settle down a little bit, take a job. She even said, "Hey, I'll get you a job here. Just settle down." So, different personalities. So, can they make a go of it?
Yeah, well, now they're having it out, of
Who
course.
knows? Yep. So one thing about this movie, it doesn't have a lot of action. It doesn't have explosions. It doesn't have the car chases, but it does have this solid cast, solid writing, solid dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
and solid character development with that Hitchcock drama, twist, intrigue that he's known for. Yes, Johnny Devick. Imagine if someone made movies with good script and good actors instead of CGI and co-promotion marketing. Yeah, and so there are still filmmakers out there who can do that and just want to devote themselves to the art of storytelling, and they just want to make movies. Um, Kudos to them. I hope they continue.
And I
Not that
feel like
everything,
Hitchcock was one of those guys. He really just wanted to make movies his way, make them entertaining, do things differently, but you know, didn't want a lot of studio interference and just kind of did his thing.
right. And it is amazing he was able to make the movies he wanted to, but he was able to get the budgets and the money that he needed to make these movies.
Mm.
Not everybody gets that luxury. Yes, Johnny Devick. In the old days with vertical integration, the studios probably took more. Yes, because it was like the studios were the top dog. They basically had contract with the actors, and the actors were stuck in the studio system. So they kind of had to do what the studio told them to. And that went on for quite a while. Um, oh, so now would be a good time. I am I have to go out of town next week, so I will not be here on Sunday. And I just found out about it. And so next week's movie is 28 days later. So I'm kind of bummed. I had put it on the schedule for next week because 28 years later is coming to the theater shortly thereafter. So I kind of wanted to coincide those watch parties. Um, But so I have the option of, if someone wants to take over the reins next week and kind of do my job, we can carry on as usual, or we can just postpone next week's movie and I can put it on the tail end of our summer movie thon, or I can switch days and we can maybe do next week's on Saturday. So I'm kind of open, and I haven't really decided what I'm going to do about it. Um,
Well, I mean, I could create another poll and put it up there.
yeah, so the thing is, so I found out about this like last night, and so I think I'm going to have to decide pretty quick because I don't want to leave you guys in the lurch. Um, I can do any time on Saturday. We can do the same time, but on Saturday, if that's okay. Um, Because I just don't want to wait until the last minute to say, "Oh, hey guys, this is the plan."
Right. No, I think that's
Um,
fair.
yeah. Oh, okay. So, interesting fact about this scene. So, this couple that likes to sleep out on the fire escape on their mattress. Word has it that Hitchcock, his direction for this scene was, he told the husband, I want you to pull the mattress into your side. He told the woman who plays the wife, I want you to pull the mattress to your window. Didn't tell the actors that he had talked to the other, and he caught this on one take. So that
Hmm.
each actor was trying to pull the mattress into their own side until they finally just resolved it, and they got this in one take.
Hmm.
So,
It
fun
comes
fact.
comes off very smart, very authentic.
It does, and that's kind of the beauty of these one take scenes. You just kind of get what you get. I guess that's kind of how I like to live my life. Is you do have a goal in mind, and you just have to take what you get in the meantime and make the best of it. So yeah, as with next week's movie, um, so okay, Johnny Devick says Saturday works for me. Anything that fits your schedule. Calbot says I'm good with either option. So yeah, maybe what I'll do. I'm gonna have to decide by probably tonight. I don't want to leave you guys in the lurch. Um,
I could
I will
do
probably
Saturday
just.
too.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I think Saturdays would be another good option. But I'm
Okay.
also easy like Sunday morning.
Yeah. So the problem is I have to leave town like at probably 5 a.m. On Sunday, and I won't be back until later. So I think if everyone's good, I'm going to have to just change the schedule. We'll do Saturday, if that works for everyone.
Works for me.
Okay. So this was like the pivotal scene, and I probably just talked right over it. As um, so this, what are we about? We're almost 35 minutes into the scene or
Sis,
into the movie, not the scene.
sister, I'm sorry about that, but there's worse songs to be stuck in your head.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Miss Swift is, I'm hearing some noise like someone constantly hitting or breathing directly on their mic.
Hmm.
Here, I'm going to turn my mic off and then turn it back on and we'll see if it's me. Okay, I'm back. Did you guys still hear it? Uh,
Hmm.
can you, okay, so Mr. Furzer, can you turn off your mic and then bring it back on?
Yep.
Yeah, because I hear it too. I wonder if it's, I wonder if my gremlins are back.
Is it back?
Yeah. I know, Alex, I don't want any more gremlins.
I think I know the issue. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? We kind of fly by the seat of our pants sometimes. Okay, so this is a pivotal scene. Um, he was awakened when he heard a woman scream, and then Raymond Burr's character we see leaving with like suitcases. Oh, Miss Swift. Oh, I know that the gremlin gifts. No gremlins, please. Okay, this is so cute. This woman lets her dog go out in the little basket and then puts a little basket to raise him back up. That's too cute.
I wonder where in Jeffrey's insurance policy it says he needs to get back massages for a broken leg.
Well, this was probably back when insurance you can you can get a really good policy. And obviously this is through his work because it's a work related injury and they want him to get back to work quickly.
Mm,
That massage would hurt. I don't
mm.
know if she's really doing any good, but what do I
It looks
know?
like it looks pretty cursory. It doesn't look like she's going deep tissue or anything like that.
But you don't argue with Stella because
No.
yeah, she's a bit brass and in your face,
Johnny,
but
the
she's
dancer's very energetic. I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing more of her.
yeah,
Yeah, and this is where he's starting to voice his suspicions. Obviously, he's got a unique perspective, not just because he's looking out, but because he's constantly awake because of the pain and discomfort of what he's doing. So it's kind of a perfect sort of setting. Though Hitchcock had a mind for these kind of things, putting these characters that in these kind of extraordinary situations to make things happen.
yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
healthcare therapy. Yes, I agree, Miss Swift. For for a photojournalist, seems very good.
yeah, he's obviously working for a really good magazine. I don't know if they alluded to the name of the magazine that he worked for, but his bosses are obviously taking care of him.
Hmm.
So, yeah, from what you were saying before, Mr. Furzel, about Jeffries is this is this is his life right now. He is probably not sleeping because of the pain, and this is really all he has is looking in on his neighbors. So he will get a sense of they're now sensing something is wrong, and but now he has Stella to kind of bounce his suspicions off of, to
Yep.
bring Stella into his ideas. And so the previous day when you had seen, um, and see, I did a rewatch of this movie last night. So Raymond Burr, I know his character's name. It escapes me. But
Thorwald.
what is it?
Thorwald.
Thorwald. You saw him digging in the garden, and so now you see the dog digging in that same spot. Okay, so Calbot says the Flintstones did a great parody of this movie with the season 2 episode Alvin Brick Rock Presents. Like the original Flintstones cartoon?
That's about as esoteric as it gets, Calbot, but that was a good
Wow.
catch. Catch.
Thorwald. James Hellier Thorwald. Yes. Yeah, Eric is saying he's got some gremlins on his end too. Internet is gone, but somehow the live stream and chat is still going.
Hmm.
That is weird. That's some active gremlins there, Eric.
I think I've got a set of binoculars, that same model set, kind of same kind of old fashioned kind of design.
So isn't it interesting? So Jeff, when he senses someone looking back at him, he is now retreating to the shadows.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how he would live his life as a photojournalist, capturing the story through the lens of the camera, and you're not part of the story, you're capturing it. So that's exactly what he did when he retreated back to the shadow.
Yeah. I like that he gets out his telephoto lens here, but I also like how he has to balance what he sees against what Stella and what Grace Kelly consider, and that almost makes him feel like at a moment that maybe he's looking too deeply, because obviously we see people do funny things, we jump to conclusions, and so I like the realism of like it's not like Thorwald is from the get go showing adamantly that he's a murderer, that it's just kind of like, oh, like we could be misinterpreting these things kind of as they go along.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how um, he's talking to Stella about it to kind of work through it.
Yeah.
And this was Hitchcock's whole theme of this movie was the idea of being a voyeur.
Yeah.
And when you see, okay, so now he's seeing more of Thorwald's actions, trying to piece it together with what he suspects happened. So did it really, should we jump to conclusions? Is it really what happened? Um, and interesting that we sort of live our life that way, don't we? And even online, when we read what people have written, we watch people's videos on social media, and we get our immediate gut reaction is not necessarily true. So it might be a good idea to just pull back, just like that he's doing in the movie. Pull back, assess what's going on, and don't jump to conclusions.
Yep.
So yeah, so now we're visiting Mr. Writer's Block. Still has a writer's block, and I just love this couple is sleeping out on the fire escape. I guess
Hmm.
you can do that when you live in a city like this.
I think I'd be afraid to have my pet jump into a little basket like that. That would definitely take some training because not just for him but also for me to make sure I didn't accidentally pull too quickly or too slowly, and he tries to hop out of there.
Right. Yeah, and you know what movie that reminds me of?
So,
It puts the lotion in the basket.
push the lotion in the basket. Ted Levine. Really, I really am wondering what Jeffrey's whole problem here is. It's like, okay, you're getting waited on by Grace Kelly, and now you're making out with her. It's like, guy, like, just don't look a gift horse in the mouth. What are you spoiling a good thing for?
Well, yeah, it's his. I guess it's in his nature to be a single, carefree bachelor who can, like he said before, go to Pakistan for a job, and not have a wife in tow.
He
You know,
doesn't have
she,
that now. He just has a practically a friend with benefits.
yeah. Well, he's doesn't he have the best of both worlds? I guess in his
That's
mind.
right. That's what I'm saying. It just seems like, I mean, if you want to work out the details later and, maintaining the status quo and all that, that's one thing. But it's like, guy, what you got right now is pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. And there are, how many movies did Hitchcock make over his career? Some like upwards of 50, 60 movies.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Um, and so any one of them would have would make a really good watch party. Any one of them,
Oh, yeah.
I would say, because there's so much to dissect in each one of his movies. Um, yeah, and you know what, Psycho. I'm not putting off that Psycho's probably going to show up on a watch party one day. I Man, that's just the original. It's the OG. It's great. Yeah, Cowbot says, "Why buy the cow?" Yep,
That's
when you
right.
get them for free. Oh, Johnny Devick, I read that the Elf TV series even had a spoof of this movie where the cat-eating alien is watching out it for a murderer. Oh boy, I have not seen Elf since it was originally run.
Hmm.
Um,
I remember
but yeah,
the Alf animated TV show on Saturday morning. That's about how far back I go.
wow. Well, so here's a question for the chat. If you were bedridden in a wheelchair and you had the view out your window of the world, would it drive you crazy? How would you make the best of it? Would you resort to doing what Jeffries is doing,
Hmm.
and maybe get a few laughs and observe the world that way?
To be perfectly honest, a lot of what I see out of my back window, looking at, because my house kind of share, like my backyard is adjacent to backyards of like two or three or four other homes in the neighborhood. So, but quite frankly, I get kind of annoyed when I look out there and see people just kind of, there's be one person that's like chopping wood or using a buzz saw, and then other people that are just kind of, you know, doing filming a TikTok or something. I don't know. I personally rather just have the peace and quiet.
Yeah, so maybe being in a wheelchair would looking out your window just peace and quiet.
Yeah.
So yeah, Miss Swift agrees with you. She
Well,
says, "I remember the cat singing the theme song." Gordon put on. Okay, me too, Mr. Furzel. Yeah,
Miss Swift, I also remember how kind of creepy it was because it also, even as a kid, creeped me out to make it seem like Alf was like trapped in the TV. He's like trying to get out, and at the end of that intro, so they just don't make shows like that anymore, where it's like it was quality animation, but also not 100% for kids either. There was a lot of weird stuff going on there.
Oh, for sure.
God, I miss the '90s.
I miss the 80s.
I think I say that a lot. At least I say that a lot to myself. But
Oh, you know
yeah,
what? I miss the 80s so much, and I was binge watching Stranger Things season 4, and I've got them all on DVD. So I'm ready for season 5, but I might have to get my Netflix subscription re-up so I don't have to wait for season 5 on DVD.
yeah.
It is the epitome of life in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, all those '80s tropes. They even
yep,
brought back actors who had prominent roles in '80s horror films. Like I love that they brought. Oh God, Paul Reiser. I love that they brought him back.
yep.
Kind of in a role similar to kind of what he played in Aliens, but kind of a bait and switch. They make you think he's going to be one of the bad guys, and he ends up being actually one of the good guys by the end.
Exactly. Because at first you're not sure when they brought
Yeah.
him in as that scientist. You're thinking he's part of the whole conspiracy. Um, so yeah, for anybody who is interested in my idea, that the poll that I put on the YouTube channel, I am seriously contemplating having an additional maybe hour and a half live stream every week where we just discuss what we're all watching, because I know you guys discuss it a lot in Discord as well about things. You're talking about things that you're watching. Wouldn't it be cool that we do it in a live stream?
Yeah.
And I tell you guys what I'm watching, what I like and don't want, like, and I hear from you guys too. Um, so yeah, I'm thinking about doing it because the poll, it seems like overwhelming, that you guys would be up for that.
Hmm. Johnny Devick, I think Silver Bullet's a good one. Also, Tremor. If I taught a film class, Johnny, I would. Tremors would definitely be a part of my curriculum. I try to give that as an option every year with my sophomores because we end the school year on a speculative fiction unit. So I try to give them the option to watch that, but so few of them are interested in seeing it.
Oh, well,
It's an acquired taste, you kind of it's like you
yeah.
describe the movie and it doesn't sound like anything too special. You really just got to like watch it and dive into it, and then you get to I think appreciate how good it really is. Of course, Stella, I
Yeah.
love that the fact that she's kind of seems colder and easier to talk about this stuff than even Jeffries does.
But yeah, now Jeffries hasn't. Didn't he call the cops and said, "Hey, I think guys, I think he killed his wife."
Yeah, he called his friend Doyle. It's always funny too how these protagonists always have like a police, lieutenant friend on the line that they can always just call up and help get in on the investigation.
Yeah, it's like he bypassed 911 altogether. Of course, this was before 911.
Right.
So he
Yeah.
just calls up his buddy.
Yeah, I think 911 didn't come along until 1990, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh gosh, I was thinking 80s.
Oh yeah, it might have been.
But, my memory could escape me because I was a young kid in the 80s. I don't remember.
I mean, back then you had to dial the operator and have the
Mhm.
operator,
Yep.
help you out.
Yeah, so this scene is pretty darn suspicious too when you've got he's now moving furniture out and his wife supposedly is just what, out of the country
Yeah.
taking a trip. Yeah, Johnny Devick is Silver Bullet is a good 80s snapshot. There's so many that have just encapsulated the 80s. But when you talk about, okay, so when you guys had talked about Tremors being underappreciated by today's youth, when I look back at my youth, there was a whole bunch of movies that my parents would have watched and wanted me to get into, and I would have just poo-pooed it. Hitchcock would have been one of them. And I didn't get into Hitchcock until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. Um, then you understand what you've been missing with these old classics. So believe it or not, Tremors to kids today is probably considered an old classic, and
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Well, I'll be right back. I gotta feed my little beast here.
Oh, you go do your thing. Oh, Johnny Devick, you've not seen Fast Times, but trying to find somewhere to watch it. I even have Fast Times on my watch list for watch parties. I think it would be a fun if we want to go like the comedic route, and it's a perfect snapshot of the '80s. Yes, Miss Swift. You just remembered that the Tom Hanks movie The Burb is also another spin on this. The Burbs. Yep. Yeah, that would be an interesting watch party. So Fast Times would be fun. I don't know exactly how it would fit in, just one of those fun movies. Hey, let's do it kind of thing. So everyone in the chat, if you are a big fan of Hitchcock, what is your ultimate favorite Hitchcock movie? Or if you're not, how do you like this movie so far? For those of you, this is the first time seeing it. So, what do you think of the pacing? What do you think of the movie so far? Okay, Johnny Devick. So, this or Vertigo? That's a good one. So, I haven't seen Vertigo in probably maybe 25 years. Um, let's see. North by Northwest, I've probably seen maybe 10, 15 years ago. Rebecca, I've seen maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Psycho, I was first introduced. Oh gosh, that was probably my first movie watching of Hitchcock's, probably late 20s, I would say. Um, and oh my gosh, what else is there? Oh, The Birds. Yep. So I've seen The Birds many times. It he's got so many different styles of movies. So if you're into like the thrillers, you've got your choice. If you want more action and suspense, you've got your choice.
I would probably go with North by Northwest, other than maybe Rear Window here. I think it would be a dead heat between those two.
Wow. So Calbot says, I am such a huge Hitchcock fan. I don't know that I can choose a favorite.
Hmm.
There are so many.
Well, Calbot, let me ask you this. Is there a favorite Hitchcock film of yours that maybe a lot of people don't know of, that maybe doesn't like hit the mainstream, something like Psycho or The Birds would?
Right. Psycho and The Birds are like the top names. Everybody knows those movies. But yeah,
Yep.
maybe one that doesn't get the recognition that it should. Alex Peacock says Shadow of a Doubt.
Ah, I know
Johnny
that one.
Devick said, yeah, this or Vertigo. James Hallier says Vertigo or North by Northwest is best. Vertigo has more psychological depth. North by Northwest is just endless fun. Yes, it's like action after action. There you go, Calbot, Marnie and the Trouble with Harry.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Trouble with Harry. It also has Jimmy Stewart in it, I believe, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, Hitchcock, like a lot of directors that followed him, I mean, kind of had like a favorite actor that they would just kind of keep employing over and over again. Not familiar with Marnie. I've heard of the trouble with Harry. The
Oh,
Lady
and speaking of
Vanishes.
which,
Yeah.
over on Discord, Alex just posted the poster for the Trouble with Harry.
Hmm.
Let's see,
Interesting.
Edmund Gwen, John Forsythe, Shirley MacLaine. Yeah, so I have heard about that. I don't know if I've ever seen the Trouble with Harry. And James Hellyer threw out The Lady Vanishes, the best of his British films. Yeah, what that must have been one of his first movies, though, right before Hitchcock came over to America and started producing in what, I want to say early, was it early 30s or late 30s that he came over? I think at the insistence of David Selznick, I think, right? David
Hmm.
Selznick is the one that brought Hitchcock over to America. And then at some point they had this falling out, and Hitchcock later on said he despised the man.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Cowbot
I was, oh,
Cowbot
go
says
ahead.
that Rope is an interesting concept. I agree. Rope was a good movie, and it's striking how often Hitchcock seemed fascinated with the idea of creating like a perfect murder or a perfect crime, where every detail seems to be scrupulously, planned out in advance, but then the characters just kind of end up not accounting for certain details, and that's just kind of ends up being their downfall in the end. Was Dial M for Murder? Was that a Hitchcock movie?
Yes.
Okay, that one was one I also really liked.
Yes, I have not seen that one, but it is vaguely familiar that I've seen that in his repertoire. Um, James Hellyer says no, he was making Silence in the 20s. So
Hmm.
yeah, he was making movies really early on.
Well, Alex
Um,
says that Dial M was Hitchcock's 3D movie. Interesting.
3D movie. Yeah, that is interesting. Alex Peacock says he worked with Selznick for a few movies. Hitchcock should have won an Oscar for Rebecca. Yes. Or Foreign Correspondent, done the same year. But the actress in Rebecca, uh, the name escapes me. She was also in Olivia de Havilland's sister. What is her name? It drives me crazy, but she won for Rebecca. That's a solid movie. Rebecca's a very solid movie. It was long on plot, didn't have, it had a lot of drama and intrigue. Joan Fontaine, thank you. Thank you, Alex. Olivia de Havilland's sister. Fun fact, they went to school together. They were just a few years apart. I think they went to high school out in Los Gatos, California. And I know that area very well. Los Gatos High School is pretty hoity-toity these days. It's part
Hmm.
of Silicon Valley. Okay, back to the movie. Miss Lonely Hearts.
Dolling herself up.
Yep,
That's a pretty green dress too.
yep. I think she's trying to make a go of it and to find love.
A little bit of liquid courage always helps.
That's exactly right. That's what I was thinking.
And it's funny because I was just I saw a couple videos in my YouTube feed the other day talking about how the current generation is kind of leading itself towards more isolationist, being like fewer friends, fewer, you know, reasons to go out and do things, and so it's just striking that you look at movies like this, it's almost like a time capsule of the time, and you can see that pretty much in any generation there's always people that just seem to struggle with the making those connections.
You're spot on. There are some people that are natural, like social butterflies,
Hmm.
and that have no problem getting out there and making friends. And then you have people that struggle with that, and we can see that in Miss Lonely Hearts. Um, yeah, I get it. And so to the people today that are making connections on social media, maybe that's one thing I'm missing because of my generation, of my age. I get the power of social media, and getting out there and making friends online. So I get it. but you're also missing something with a human connection. That's why
Yeah,
I love these watch parties, because there is this one-on-one connection. Even though you guys aren't in the same room, I feel like we're connected at a time and place, doing the things that we love to do. We love to watch movies. Uh,
absolutely. 100%.
so, but otherwise, I would be more prone to just, I would be sitting at my window watching the world go by,
Yeah.
than getting out there and trying to find someone like Miss Lonely Hearts.
And now Johnny says that Jeffries primarily uses a Killfit 400 millimeter f5.6 Fern Kalar telephoto lens. All right, like, can I buy a vowel, Johnny? Because might as all
How
well be
did you
Greek.
know that?
Might as all well be Greek to me.
um, I'm sure that you could. I mean, did you know that, Johnny Devick? Did you know that by looking at the lens, or did you do some research online? Because now I'm curious. Back when they made this movie, what would a camera like that go for?
Cameras are hella expensive. I know that much.
So even today, if you get a professional camera like that, they are very expensive.
Yeah.
Even though what everyone would just be on their smartphone taking pictures. Oh, Johnny Devitt Googled it. So yeah, let's do a quick Google and find out how much that photo, the lens and the camera.
I don't know if it's a Nikon, but I mean, it's definitely high end what he's using there. But of course, things were a little bit cheaper back in the 50s, I imagine. Back when everything was made in the United States,
Right.
forced.
Well, what's interesting is at the beginning of the movie, when Lisa came in and she was talking about her dress, because she's what, this editor, she's a model.
Mhm.
She talks about the dress cost her $1,100. So back in that day, that even Jeffrey just was like flabbergasted.
That'd be easily over $10,000 now, I think.
It's a great dress, and so if you're in that industry, what's $1,100 back in the day? But still, that's a lot of money.
Oh heck yeah!
So looking at, so the scene of him, okay, what was his name again?
Thorwald.
Thorwald. Okay, I'm just spacing on the name. So what Jeffrey saw through the camera, Thorwald was on the phone going through his wife's purse. Even if you didn't suspect him of killing his wife, that's sus, very suspect. So I love this scene now where he's pulling Lisa into his theory. He's really pulling Lisa in.
Well, there was even a couple scenes ago. She said, when she saw what he did, she saw like some key moment. I can't remember what it was, but then she's told Jeff, like, tell me everything you've seen up to this point. It's like now, she's starting to buy into the fact that something suspicious is going on here.
Yep.
Calbot, there you go. I mean, I figured it was about 10 to 1. $1,100 in 1954, 13,000 today. So a little more than
Unbelievable.
10 to 1.
Yeah, let me write a check for that dress. It's a gorgeous dress.
Oh, what she's wearing now is nice too. She got that little beret with the little veil in front of it. She was definitely already practicing for being a princess.
Oh, okay, everybody on Discord, Fraglord posted the lens. It's not the full camera, but it's the lens that he was using. It's listed on eBay for $368.43.
Is that pounds?
That, I think that's pounds. Is that the symbol for pounds?
I believe so.
113.91 delivery to the
I
United
think the
States. So,
I think the pound's a little worth a little more than the dollar these days.
yeah, if you do the conversion, what would that be?
I'd probably say close to about $500, maybe.
Yeah, you'd think it would be. it would be more. But no one, I mean, does anybody use cameras anymore like that?
Well, I guess it's like so many things, just like with filmmaking. There are some that prefer to use actual film stock, just like there are some photographers that prefer to use actual film stock rather than make everything digital.
Ah, so Lisa's now part of this.
Hmm.
She's got her theories.
Offering her feminine intuition and expertise.
So if the dress is worth 1,100 bucks back then, I wonder what the jewelry is worth that she's wearing.
Mm. True.
um, Alex says it's been on a shelf for well over 10 years. That
Mm.
you mean that lens?
Sith Sister says, my spouse has a digital DSLR camera, but it can use different lenses. Uses as much as she can. Okay. I don't know. What does
Yeah,
DSLR mean?
a brand is it?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Or yeah, yeah. The only photography I do is with my phone.
That's right.
Yeah,
I used to have a digital camera that I would use, and I stopped using that around 2010, 2015, I think.
gotcha. Yeah, sister says it's a manual camera.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and James Hellier brings up a good point. It's a manual focus lens and may not be attachable to any modern camera mount. It's a curious rather than something people would use today.
Okay.
That's true.
Oh, a Canon. There you go.
The
Yeah,
Canon.
Canon's a brand I know. Mr. Writer's Block's having quite a little soiree over there.
He's one of the social butterflies.
Yeah.
He may be having writer's block, but he's got a lot of friends. So I think he's brought his girlfriend into his life now of critiquing everybody's life based on looking at him from the outside.
Yep.
Ah, there you go. So Miss Swift is saying DSLR is digital single lens reflex. James Hellier says digital single lens reflector. So, okay.
Okay.
So I'm getting the idea now in this scene, if they can see the neighbors without using the camera, they're getting a pretty good view of the neighbors' activity. You don't even have to have the camera.
Yeah. He says coffee and brandy. I'll take the coffee and brandy. Hold the coffee.
And you'll notice that she's warming up the brandy.
Yep.
I guess that's what they would do at night. You'd have your nighttime cocktail and then you'd end it with coffee.
I'll never touch the stuff myself.
What, coffee or
Nope.
liquor?
No coffee. No. Oh, I do plenty of liquor. Believe me, I'm drinking that right now. But coffee. And I tried coffee once or twice, and I tried it black all the way up to full of cream and sugar. I just can't I can't find a blend that tastes any good. And obviously, I can get caffeine any number of places, so I just kind of stay away from it.
Ah, well, Johnny Devick is mentioning that warm brandy is madness. Never tried it.
I've had it once in a while, but trying to cut back myself these days.
Isn't that what they would call a hot toddy as well? Is it warm brandy or another warm liqueur?
Yeah, yeah, it's that and mixed with a couple other things, kind of like a It's kind of like a hot cider sort of situation, just with some alcohol blended into it. Um, but yeah, obviously much more common to mix in some liquor back in those days with whatever was being done. I love
Okay.
that Jeffries here is also trying to like critique his friend Tom Doyle, like, be careful what you say. It's like, well, dude, you're the one that keeps trying to tell Lisa, just to mind her manners and you're not going to like being with me, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude,
Right.
pick a lane, would you?
Mad is mentioning hot toddy is whiskey. Yeah, your guess is as
Yep.
good as mine. So one thing I find very striking about this scene, and it's pretty much throughout the whole movie, it almost feels like this movie's been colorized.
Mm,
Um, from what I have read, the the base negative for this film was partially destroyed. There was I think it was yellow or something that had gotten washed out of the negative, and they had to kind of recolorize it. So I was just noticing, and it may be in my copy because I'm renting this on Amazon, that Doyle's eyes are, I mean, just strikingly blue. So are
mm,
Grace Kelly's, and so is Jimmy Stewart's. Their
yep.
eyes are just like crystal blue.
Yeah.
I don't think their natural eye colors are that way. So I wonder if it has to do with the coloring process that they had to put back into the film. Um, I didn't get much research on that part as to how they well, colorized the movie back.
Mm.
Um, or was this an afterthought in the industry when everything went through a digital processing and everything was recolorized? Does that have effect on what we're seeing today?
I know that this film, and even the VHS version of this movie that I have, was remastered from a previous print. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went through a couple of different upgrades to it, maybe oversaturated it a little bit. I also
Yeah.
I also find it funny that no matter what, even though they're talking, even though they're getting kind of heated, they're still sifting the brandy.
Exactly. They're civilized.
Yeah, that's right. They're still swirling the brandy around even as they're talking. I thought that's a nice touch.
And I guess specifically that is a brandy glass,
Oh
specifically
yes,
for brandy.
yeah, sifter.
So yeah, Alex Peacock mentioned, yeah, the yellow layer was pulled off a lot. So I wonder in the recolorization of it, um, yeah, if the coloring is just a little bit off, it's almost too deep. It's almost too rich.
Mm.
Well, but that's because I am renting it on Amazon. I would love to compare it to an original print. Um, Alex had mentioned it's because of how they made the release prints at the time. They basically made too many release prints of the original negative. Yeah, and just kind of wiped it away. Um, yeah, if I can get my hands on an original copy to compare, it fascinates me the
Yeah.
process of filmmaking. So Sis Sister is saying I'm streaming the 4K version. I'd love to find the Laserdisc to compare them.
Mm.
Laserdisc, wow.
Yeah, that would have been that'd be quite a thing.
Okay, I don't like pulling up other tabs on my computer. I don't want the gremlins to show up, but let's see. Rear window, if they even have a laser disc.
Woo, Doyle can't take that much at one time.
Dude, he's got a little bit of a drinking problem.
Well, the problem is the glass. The glass is oriented, so it's like it's meant to like you be able to like swirl it around, but it's like when you try to pour it, it all comes together in that narrower aperture, and it can kind of spill easily. So that's why you don't take too much of it at once. I don't know if that was improv or if that was just good writing there by Hitchcock trying to get Doyle out of there quickly.
Um, hey, here we go. Just pulling up a random on eBay. Let's see, Rear Window Hitchcock sealed laserdisc from '84, an '84 print. They did laserdisc back in '84. Wow, I
Oh
thought that was
yeah.
like a '90s thing.
No, I mean, before DVDs came along, Laserdisc was supposed to be the future, just, being able to store more information, yada, yada. So, kind of like CDs came out in the 80s too.
Wow.
Miss Swift,
Yeah,
is that
boy.
that GIF you posted? Is that, I can't think of his name. The weather guy escapes me.
Um, oh, the one who lost all the weight.
Right, right. He trimmed himself down last couple years.
Yeah.
Is he having a mint julep? What is that there? Oh, Al Roker. There we go. Al Roker.
And then, of course, Mad Matt posted, I have a drinking problem. That is from Airplane. Yep.
That joke took me a long while really to get. I never really understood. It's like, okay, he has a drinking problem. Sure, sure. And I
Yep.
just thought it was silly. He just kept pouring it on the side of his face. And I didn't really make the connection until I think I was an adult.
Wow. Boy, we digress in our conversations, don't we?
Right.
We are we have like a half hour left in the movie, and we're seeing the progression of, okay, so Miss Lonely Hearts, we've been seeing progression of these characters that we're kind of following from afar.
Yeah.
Um,
Got a
and
little
this
too
is,
familiar.
I mean, this is like an ultimate rejection for her, because this guy was coming on a little too strong, and I'm going to use the word rapey. He was a little bit rapey, and she should have pushed him off.
And so here's the part where Lisa and Jeffries are finally thinking, like, well, maybe we gone too far. Maybe we have been looking into things too closely, and we just need to find another way. And then Kelly wearing that backless blouse.
She's a looker. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. What is Jeffries complaining about, man? I bring that up again.
It's that age old story. He doesn't want to commit. She wants commitment. And when you're in a relationship like that, you have to either come to an understanding and make it work, or you have to go your separate ways.
Yeah.
So I kind of get the feeling he wouldn't be bothered if she said, "Screw you. I'm out of here, dude. I'm out."
Alex says the Prince of Monaco was no fool. No, I don't think he was.
I think at the time, wasn't he wooing her? That's an old term, wooing.
Yeah.
Um, wasn't they an item now? Because I know they got married in '56, and they knew each other for a while. So this might have been about the time that he pursued her, I believe.
Mm.
Oh wow. So yeah, we're looking at a lot of this discussion on the laser disc. Boy, and we have the beta, we had the VHS wars, we had Laserdisc making its appearance. Boy, so long ago.
Hmm. Someone's got to post the GIF of Strong Bad's Laserdisc song with the cheat. That's what always pops up in my head whenever I think of Laserdisc.
Go ahead and post it. Yeah, if I'm hesitant about opening up too many tabs on my browser, I would just open myself up to those gremlins. Johnny Devick had Betamax. Nice. I bet you don't have the player anymore.
Thank you, Miss Swift. Sometimes these pauses kind of make it difficult to type on my lappy top.
Yeah. Alex Peacock posted the same one too. Oh, so the plot thickens? The dog is dead. And I don't blame the lady for shouting at the top of her lungs. I would be pissed too.
Oh yeah. It's a nice interlude because at first we thinking there's going to be a little romantic thing with Jeffries and Lisa, and it's just cut right off in the middle by this new development, which kind of brings them back to being like, oh well, maybe we were right. Maybe something strange is going on here. Well, honey.
Yeah, so we got the wheels spinning. It's maybe it's not. Maybe we weren't wrong for suspecting him of murder. Oh, Mad Matt, thank you. Yes, the wooing process from Dodgeball. That's from Dodgeball. I love that movie. I just love the comedy of that movie.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
I love it.
Miss Swift and Ric Flair. What's
What is that from?
it looks like Ric Flair, but I'm wondering what the connection is there.
That that's random. I do not recognize that gif.
Woo!
Okay, so I love this scene. Lisa and Stella and Jeffries, they're all now in it. They're so deep in this theory that something's going on. Oh, Alex Peacock, Ric Flair, professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Was this back in the 80s?
It was like 80s, 90s. He'd had
Okay.
some tenacity. He'd been around for a while, and his signature thing was that where he would just be say "woo," just
Oh boy, I remember the professional wrestlers back in the day
oh yeah,
and when they first started the WrestleMania.
oh
I
yeah.
think I even went to saw I saw one.
I mean
I
they
think
and
I saw one.
they crossed media too. I mean just like wrestlers like Hulk Hogan. I mean Roddy
Yeah.
Piper. I mean those guys like appeared in wrestling, but in music videos and movies, just because they were just kind of everywhere. You know, back.
Yeah, they were. It was pop culture at even though we all suspected it was all fake and staged and theatrics. It was fun to watch. Um, so in this scene, what strikes me about this is his training as a photographer. It really is proving to be very valuable as a slide he took 2 weeks prior
Yeah.
is now compared to the one he took of that day. And he's now noticing the difference. And it's almost like here's the evidence we have that something is afoot. He put something in the ground. Thorwald dug those flowers up because he put something in there. The dog dug something up. Um, yeah, and okay, so Stella is just they're talking about Thorwald, how he got rid of his wife and just kind of cut up her body. Oh well, and threw her body parts all over the city, which is yeah, that's kind of gross, but that's pretty much what he had to do. Alex Peacock. Okay, takes us back to Hogan versus Andre match in WrestleMania 3 will always be classic. I probably saw that back in the day. We're probably talking early 80s, mid 80s. When they had their bout. All right, I'm going to WrestleMania 3, what year was that? Anybody know offhand?
I'll always remember
Yes.
Andre the Giant for his tour de force role in Princess Bride.
Yep, absolutely. James Hellier, yep, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, as seen on the A Team, and in yeah, he was in Rocky. I want to say not two. He was in Rocky 3. Yeah, he was in Rocky 3. Okay, so Lisa's got a big set of cojones on her. She is actually delivering this letter to his door. Thank you, Miss Swift. Oh, I love that. That was the beginning of Rocky 3, this exhibition charity match. It totally Hulk Hogan at his best. Boy, yeah, that conversation took us back to WrestleMania. Alex Peacock, Sergeant Slaughter, as seen on the G.I. Joe cartoons. Oh,
Huh.
this. So she just delivered the letter. Thorwald saw the letter, and Lisa has to get out of there without being seen. They that was like poking the bear.
Yep.
They're trying to entice him, engage him.
And to do it into making some kind
So
of mistake.
exactly, exactly. So that was that comment about don't call Doyle until you have evidence. We're not going to bring the cops in until we have evidence.
Hmm.
No, really, you're supposed to call the cops to get the evidence, but the cops would come and say, "What makes you think he killed his wife?"
Yep.
And they won't investigate it.
Alex, is that Bret the Hitman Hart? That's about how far back I go, I think, with my wrestling knowledge. Calbot's got Macho Man Randy Savage there.
Oh, you know these guys.
Well, I tell you, I mean, back in those days, these guys were everywhere. And that's about how much I was into it. And then after that faded out, I kind of faded out with it too.
There we go, Alex Peacock. That's the Hogan Andre the Giant match.
Yep.
Boy, I mean, Andre the Giant's a beefy, tall man, but Hulk Hogan looks like he's holding his own.
Yep. I remember that
Oh,
was
thank you. Mad Matt says the letter reads, I know what you did last summer. That's great.
there's the Ultimate Warrior. I guess Slim Jim had a big marketing thing with the WWF.
Now you don't see many of them. Are we
No,
still doing WrestleMania or do they call it something else?
no, I think it's still WrestleMania.
Okay. Johnny Devick is pointing out the lighting is so good that the top in complete darkness to enhance the actors.
Yep.
I had not noticed that before. Good notice.
I like how the ladies are now kind of taking the lead here, and Jeffries is now the one who's kind of being like, "Hey,
Yeah,
let's calm
yeah.
down here."
Wait, ladies, what are you guys doing? What are you talking about? But in reality, he's still stuck in that wheelchair. He can't really do anything in the situation. He can't
Hmm.
control their actions.
So, see, kids, back in the day, we used to have something called the Yellow Pages, which would have people's phone numbers in it, and we would use that then in order to try and call somebody and figure out what their number was.
And every year we would get the updated phone book.
Right.
If you wanted your number unlisted, you had to pay extra. Otherwise, it
Yep.
was included in the book.
Yep. Also makes me think of that scene from The Jerk where Steve Martin opens up the phone book and he's just like, "Oh, I've got my number in the phone book. I'm somebody now."
I'm in the phone book. That's a great scene.
Yep. Thorwald is upset.
Well, he is. Uh, he's acting like a guilty person, but you could still make the case that he is an innocent man being framed by people who don't know the whole story and just saw
Hmm.
from afar.
Miss Swift says, I had to explain the
Oh,
phone book in 411 to a coworker a few months ago.
oh, isn't that sad? They stopped making the phone book. Well,
Uh,
everything's online now, any day.
uh,
Anyway. Oh,
Calbot,
Calbot? Did
well,
you see
and
that?
yeah, Calbot, the World Wildlife Fund. I remember that they had a legal disagreement with the WWF because, like, one of them was trying to fight for the acronym rights to the other, and I remember that being a kind of a confusing time briefly.
Yep.
What are you doing? What are you?
Oh, Miss Swift comments that Jeffrey's Angels like Charlie's Angels or maybe the Bloodhound Gang. Okay. I know we've made the reference to the Bloodhound Gang, but I used to watch that as a kid. It was part of the show 321 Contact. It's like an after school show, and the Bloodhound Gang was these kids, these three, teenagers that went and solved crimes. It was great. Oh, it was fantastic. Thank you for the reminiscing down memory lane, Miss Swift. This is actually pretty clever of him to get that the flash,
Yeah,
because back then, I mean, they blind you if you were looking straight at him.
yeah.
Yes, exactly, Miss Swift. These are like his angels. They're doing the dirty work now. They're hardcore.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex Peacock, yes, 321 Contact and MathNet on Square One Childhood PBS for the win. Absolutely.
Huh.
And I think these days, if you do a Google search of 321 Contact, I don't know if the old episodes are online anywhere. I think it was maybe on for one season and then like one and done. It was
Hmm.
gone.
And Johnny Devick mentions the Hardy Boys. Why the heck did not become like a TV series or a movie series? I mean, I remember those books were everywhere.
Well, wasn't the Hardy Boys Nancy Drew? They used to be on TV, I think on a
Hmm.
regular basis. Um, Parker Stevenson, Sean Cassidy, I think were the Hardy Boys, and uh, I'm glitching on the name of who played Nancy Drew. Pamela Anderson, Pamela Sue Martin, Pamela Sue
Huh.
Martin. There you go. Yeah, so I recall them being on TV back in the '70s, maybe.
Hmm.
Well,
I remember my older brother. He was really into that book series. I think he had almost every book. I mean, I remember he just had a bookshelf. It was just full of all these titles with these intriguing covers of like the Hardy Boys skiing down a mountain and someone was chasing them with an Uzi or something. And
yeah, just silly, good fun shows.
oh yeah,
Yes, Alex. LOL. Pamela Anderson is Nancy Drew.
I'd
I
check
had the
that.
picture of the actress. I just couldn't remember her name.
What, honey?
I hear a cat. That's your cat.
Yeah, his little Murphy's just keeps. Whenever I'm not looking at him for 20 seconds, he keeps meowing at me and wanting me to play with him a little bit.
Alex Peacock mentions Hardy Boys had a series just a few years ago.
Hmm.
I must have been sleeping.
Yeah, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, I must have missed it.
The Princess of Monaco is doing an interesting stunt here.
So now, yes, and so now we're into the really suspenseful part because he's still watching this happen. He's powerless to do anything about it, but now these people he cares about are involved in what he started. This is, I mean, on the edge of your seat. You'll see in just a minute or two that it really does get to be a nail biter.
Yeah.
But she is fearless. Lisa is fearless.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Miss Swift. There you go. Sometimes they did cases together. The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew mysteries. Yeah.
I like how they kind of get distracted with Miss Lonely Hearts, and that just delays them just enough to miss what's going on with Lisa, and then when Thorwald comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to mention that because Stella's a nurse, she sees what Miss Lonely Hearts is doing and she knows exactly what those pills are. So they are distracted with what's going on. And now they don't have time to warn Lisa.
Yeah,
Like, oh, this is great. This who okay. Old Johnny Devick mentioned this movie really uses framing for a good effect, especially now when you're seeing Lisa is put in peril and you're seeing both sides of it in the frame.
and I like how we see in the beginning we see Miss Lonely Hearts and we see Lisa, and then like just out of the corner Thorwald comes in, so it's like we see all angles of it.
Yeah, and I can imagine now is the panic. He called the police, but will they get there in time?
Huh.
So all I can say is if he had like a yeah, if he was able to, he doesn't have a gun, okay, so he doesn't have a gun, but if he did, he might be able to aim it across the courtyard and take Thorwald out.
Hmm.
But oh yeah, that would be complicated. Legal complications.
Hmm.
Yeah, nothing he said he doesn't want to watch now.
Yeah.
This is too much.
Alex just posted the a trailer on Hulu for the Hardy Boys. I like that they use the same font style from the books, and I don't know how I remember it being that long ago. I haven't looked at one of those books in decades.
No kidding. I know the books are
But I
still out
recognize
there.
that that typeface anywhere. Calbot says Lisa's going to need a lawyer for breaking and enter, and she should call Perry Mason. Hmm.
Yeah, we'll get him on the phone for you. But yeah, she definitely is getting arrested for breaking and entering. There's no excuse. Although
Of course,
you'll
that's only
notice
if he
here,
presses charges. I mean, he might not to just
mm,
avoid the look of
but
it. And then,
yeah, this is the key. She got the wedding ring, but now Thorwald knows exactly what's going on.
yeah.
But you know what? He is a good boyfriend because he knows she's going to get arrested, so he's going to start coming up with the money to bail her out.
Ironically, Lisa would probably have more than enough money to bail herself out.
She could.
She can buy an $1,100 dress. She could surely bail herself out. I
Yep.
mean,
But yeah, look at they just went in her purse. She's got 50 cents.
when
Mm.
those cops see Lisa, they'll contribute.
Well, she did break into his apartment, so that is valid. But yeah, now the panic ensues because they're absolutely convinced Thorwald killed his wife. Cops don't they haven't investigated anything. Yes, Mad Matt, and not taking a single photograph of the murder. Exactly. Yeah, that would have helped had he had his camera at the ready. But I think the murder did happen at night when he was kind of awoken by a woman's scream. And I think the apartment was dark at the time. Oh, Mad Matt says, who watches the watcher? There was that whole line of thought in, what is it, the movie Enemy of the State, um, about the government watching, concealing, and being able to track you no matter where you go.
Mm.
That is a very interesting movie. It had Gene Hackman in it, Will Smith. Um,
Oh yeah, Enemy of the State.
who
Yeah.
else? Who else?
Um. Uh.
Did it
Oh.
have an all-star cast? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Who was the guy that? Who was the main bad guy? God. Oh.
Oh, I might have to pull up another tab and search that movie. Enemy of the State, 1998. Lisa Bonet, John Voight.
That's right, John Voight. God.
John Voight. And Lisa Bonet was in it. Yes. Regina King. All-star cast.
Yeah. And now we've got the real tension here because now we're just hearing Thorvald's steps up the stairs, knowing that Jeff can't really do anything now except just delay things a little bit.
But would he know that Jeffries is in a wheelchair? Did he get that good of a look at him?
I don't know that he got that good a look, but obviously, I don't think it would matter to him. I think if he knew somebody was watching him, and if he knew that the guy watching him was probably the same guy sending him the notes and whatnot, he's going to want to
Mhm.
confront him no matter what. I think once he finds that Jeffrey's in the wheelchair, he probably just thinks it's easy enough then to do away with him.
Yep. So we're down to like the last 6 minutes of the movie, and it all comes down to this. So that's like a manual flash bulb
Mm,
that went off, and I think it was only good for one, and
replace it, yeah.
you had to change the light bulb. Is that correct? And it would, because it would go so bright, it would burn itself out.
And I'm surprised that he can operate it manually without having to connect it with the camera either.
Thorwald's going to need a good attorney too. Better call Perry Mason. Oh, James Hellier is also mentioning an uncredited Jason Robards in Enemy of the State. Hmm. Oh, Johnny Devick is saying flashes can be flashed with a test button, so it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be in a camera. Well, if you think about it, Thorwald's got nothing to lose.
Well,
He's got to take him out because he's the only one that would suspect. I love that orange effect.
that's like him getting his vision back after the flash.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yep, the cops are here, but they're in the wrong building. Or it's all one building, they're just in the wrong side.
Hmm.
Isn't it beautiful thing now at the very end, everyone's going to come out and look.
Yep. They kind of sped up the frame rate a little bit.
Yep, I was just noticing it does look a little fakey.
Ha. And then there's that shot, which I guess was like green screened of him falling from the window.
Yeah. Back when they did practical effects and they wouldn't dare really drop Jimmy Stewart from a
Ah,
story building. Yeah, Johnny Devick said it would damage his retina. It should have really blinded him. Yeah, my only complaint of this movie is just this little bit that Thorwald cracked that easy. You guys haven't even questioned him, and he's already confessed to the whole thing,
yeah.
even where his he put his wife's pieces. Yeah, I doubt it.
I
But
like that that Stella just is like, no, I don't want any part of this. It's just kind of like a
right,
little
yeah, like now it's all too real for her, so she's like,
right.
I'm out.
Oh,
But
Miss
so now
Lonely
we're
Hearts
seeing,
has made a new friend.
yeah, so Miss Lonely Hearts and Mr. Writer's Block. Things are working out, and we're seeing like the next evolution in these people's lives.
Yeah. I think Miss Torso's outfit would have been salacious even for the 50s then. I wonder how Hitchcock got that past the Hayes office.
Yeah, that's a good question. I love how they made Miss Torso more wholesome than we were led to believe.
Yeah.
And all she was doing was she was just lonely for her husband who was away at war or in the military. The 54, yeah, it probably would have been the Korean
But yeah, it
conflict.
might have been Korea.
So everyone's kind of having their happy ending. Oh, Calbot, check out that gift on Discord.
Huh.
That from SNL, I believe, one of the
Yeah.
skits. Yes, Alex, a little fakey. So does a lot of the Bourne movies. Yes.
Hmm. All right, and there we go.
There we go, everybody.
Yep, even this version on Netflix has the restoration after the credits here, so I guess you can't really find the original negatives anymore.
Well, I bet if they do exist somewhere, it is possible. I would be very interested in finding and comparing the different prints. Um, yes, so let's get our comments. James Hellier says it's like the end of Psycho, where they felt the need to have the psychiatrist explain what happened for the audience. It's just that last minute exposition. You have to wrap up the story.
Right.
Um, yeah, Johnny Devick, how hurt was he? He was still recovering from the first broken leg and he broke the other leg.
Yep.
So that's from falling out of a two-story building. That's not too bad because he landed on those other two guys. So there you go, everybody. That was Rear Window. I hope if it was your first time watching, um, that you got some good vibes, good feelings, good experience, and you didn't feel like you wasted 2 hours of your life. Because that's kind of how I judge movies.
Hmm.
is whether I feel like I've just wasted 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. Um, so Eric says I was not really into it, but I will give it another try sometime. All right.
Yeah,
Johnny says it's a good
it's kind of a
movie.
slow burn.
Yeah. Miss Swift may have to do a rewatch, but beautifully shot and composed. Yeah. Johnny Devick says, yeah, slow by modern standards, but take slow over modern.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it wasn't like the swashbuckling, action packed movie that, I mean, I love those movies. There's a place for all kinds of movies, I guess, in your life.
yeah.
Um, so, yeah, there you go. And so next week, as a reminder, so I think what I'll do is just switch Sunday's movie to Saturday, same time, same channel, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, works for me.
And yeah, if so, I apologize if it doesn't work for you because I know Saturdays can be busy for some people. Um, but it's just for this coming up week, and then after that, we'll be back to our schedule. So, and then we'll do 28 days later. Later, we'll do it on Saturday. Um, Alex was saying I was watching the special features all week. Rewatched the movie with the gang today. Fantastic. That would be fun to see the special features.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was a movie. It's a movie I enjoy, and I'll be watching it again. And with the other Hitchcock movies, go out there and watch a Hitchcock movie that you've never seen before. We've got quite a few recommendations in the chat. Um, Thank you, James. It was no Extra or Mac and Me.
huh,
That
huh,
is for sure. You know, there's a time and place for Extra. There's a time and place for Mac and Me. Um,
absolutely.
but yes, as always, it was a pleasure being with you guys this week. I look forward to it. Thank you, Mr. Furzel,
Thank you.
um, for joining me today. And so, yeah, I'll be looking for a co host for Saturday. Um, there are I think there's like two people I'll probably reach out to. Haven't had them on for a while, and so we'll see who is able to co-host with me, and we'll do it on Saturday as a reminder, and I'll be posting it online as a reminder. So, all right, thank you, Mr. Furzel. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you on Saturday.
See you guys later. Later, Gators.
Bye.